Have you ever felt it? That undeniable presence some people carry. It isn't about loudness or power in the conventional sense. It's a quiet hum, a certain light in their eyes, a deep stillness that seems to command the very air around them. You feel drawn to them, not by what they say, but by the resonance of who they are. Now, have you ever witnessed someone, perhaps driven by envy, fear, or a deep inner turmoil, attempt to disturb that peace, to try and dim that light? Our common understanding tells us that a fight will ensue, a battle of wills. But what if I told you the most profound and inevitable consequences have nothing to do with retaliation? What if the universe itself, in its infinite wisdom, operates a system of perfect, impersonal balance? These souls, these chosen ones, as some might call them, are not warriors in a conflict. They are mirrors. They are conduits for a clarity that can be deeply unsettling to those who live in shadow. Today, we will walk a path of understanding together. We will explore 9 profound reflections, 9 natural outcomes that unfold when one attempts to destabilize a soul deeply aligned with its purpose. This journey is not about blame or punishment. It is about revealing the elegant and sometimes sobering mechanics of reality itself. If this quest for deeper truth resonates with you, I invite you to make a quiet declaration, a commitment to your own protected journey. In the comments below, simply write MYP8ISPA. Let this be an affirmation, a gentle reminder of the sacred space you occupy. And as we prepare to explore these profound truths, consider this a sanctuary for your own journey, a place to return to for clarity and strength. If you are seeking to connect with a community that walks this path of inner discovery, I warmly invite you to subscribe and join our circle. Your presence here is a gift. Let's begin. Number 1, they encounter the inescapable mirror. The very first consequence is not an action, but a reflection. When someone directs negativity towards a person who is spiritually aligned, they are not met with a counterattack. Instead, they are met with a calm, clear surface. The spiritually centered individual becomes a mirror. Think of it like this. You're standing by a perfectly still mountain lake. If you shout an insult at the mountain, does the mountain shout back? No, it simply returns your own voice to you perfectly. If you throw a stone into the lake, does the lake attack you? No. It simply shows you the disturbance you have created through the ripples that spread outward and eventually fade. This is what happens on a psychic and energetic level. A person full of unresolved anger may accuse the aligned soul of being aggressive. But what they are truly seeing is the reflection of their own inner aggression, amplified by the clarity of the other's field. They might project accusations of deceit, only to find themselves ensnared in their own complex webs of untruth. Their attempt to label another becomes a startling and deeply uncomfortable confrontation with their own hidden nature. Ancient wisdom teaches us that the world we perceive is a reflection of our own consciousness. When you try to tarnish a clean mirror, the only thing you truly see is the dirt on your own hands. This isn't punishment. It is a profound and often challenging opportunity for self-awareness. Number 2, the resonance of truth exposes their disharmony. Imagine a finely tuned instrument, perhaps an old, masterfully crafted cello. Its strings vibrate at a perfect, harmonious frequency. Now, imagine someone bringing a poorly made, out of tune drum into the same room and beating it loudly. What happens? The chaos of the drum beat doesn't break the cello's potential for harmony. Instead, the clear, pure note of the cello, even in its silence, makes the chaotic noise of the drum all the more obvious. The contrast reveals the disharmony. Souls who are chosen for a path of purpose operate on a certain frequency of truth and authenticity. They may not speak of it, but their very existence is a testament to it. When someone who operates from a place of deceit, manipulation, or hidden agendas enters their space, the dissonance is palpable. Their falsehoods seem to ring hollow. Their carefully constructed stories begin to have noticeable gaps. It is not that the chosen one is actively investigating them. It's that the frequency of truth itself acts as a clarifying agent. You might have seen this happen in your own life. someone tells a story that doesn't quite add up, and while others might nod along, in the presence of someone deeply authentic, the lie just hangs in the air, exposed and uncomfortable. It loses its power. From a space of deep awareness, we find that truth has a resonant power. Lies and deception are, by their nature, forms of static and noise. When brought into the presence of a clear signal, the static doesn't overcome the signal. It is simply revealed for what it is: incoherent and empty noise. The person who messes with them finds their own illusions beginning to crumble, not because they were attacked, but because their illusions couldn't survive in the light. Number 3, the careful architecture of their world begins to unravel. Consider a person who has built a life based on control. Their relationships are carefully managed, their reputation meticulously curated, their plans laid out with precision. It is like an elaborate house of cards, built indoors where there is no wind. It looks stable, but its stability is conditional and fragile. An aligned soul, on the other hand, is like the wind. Not a destructive gale, but the natural, unpredictable, and free, moving element of nature itself. They don't have to push the house of cards. Their very presence changes the atmosphere in the room. When someone with a controlling nature tries to interfere with the chosen one, they are attempting to control an element that cannot be controlled. They are trying to schedule the tides or command the sun. The result is a profound disruption, not for the chosen one, but for the controller. Their carefully laid plans suddenly hit unforeseen obstacles. The people they thought they had under their thumb begin to question their motives. The control they exert requires a predictable environment, and the presence of authentic, spiritually guided energy is fundamentally unpredictable. This unraveling feels like chaos to the person experiencing it. It feels as if they have suddenly been struck with a bout of bad luck. But the laws of nature itself reveal this is a rebalancing. You cannot introduce a rigid, artificial structure into a living, flowing ecosystem without that structure being tested. Their world doesn't fall apart as a punishment. It begins to loosen and crumble to show them that their foundation was built on the illusion of control, not on the solid ground of authentic being. They tried to place a cage around the wind, and in the process, only discovered the bars of their own making. Number 4, they experience a deep and pervasive emptiness. There's a fundamental misunderstanding in those who try to drain energy or cast a shadow upon a chosen soul. They believe that light and vitality are finite resources that can be taken, like stealing money from a vault. But this is not how it works. The light of an aligned individual is not something they have, it is something they channel. They are like a clean, clear window through which the sun shines. Now, imagine someone trying to steal the sunlight from that window. They might stand in front of it, casting a shadow. They might try to cover it with a blanket. For a moment, they might feel they have succeeded in blocking the light from reaching others. But what is their own experience in that moment? They are left in the dark, holding a heavy blanket. They have not captured the sun. They have only succeeded in separating themselves from its warmth. This is the deep emptiness that befalls them. In their effort to diminish another's joy, peace, or success, they disconnect from the universal source of these very things. You've felt this, perhaps, in a moment of jealousy. When you focus on what another has, a hollow feeling grows within you. That feeling is the absence of gratitude for what you have. The person who messes with the chosen one becomes obsessed. They watch, they plot, they gossip. And in all that time, their own inner garden is left untended. Weeds of bitterness and resentment grow, and the wellspring of their own inner joy runs dry. They sought to create a famine for another, and instead, they starve themselves. Number 5, pathways of opportunity mysteriously close for them. The universe is an infinitely intelligent and efficient system of energy. It flows like water, always seeking the path of least resistance towards growth, creation, and higher expression. An aligned soul, by their very nature, becomes a clear and open channel for this universal flow. Opportunities, synchronicities, and helpful people are naturally drawn to them, not because they are lucky, but because they are in harmony with the current. When someone decides to direct their energy towards obstruction, towards creating dams of negativity, jealousy, or harm, they are fundamentally choosing to step out of this universal current. They are essentially telling the universe, my focus is not on growth and creation, but on blockage and demolition. The universe, in its impersonal wisdom, simply respects their choice. It's like a gardener who spends all day throwing rocks into his neighbor's beautiful vegetable patch. He is so focused on causing harm that he fails to notice the perfect conditions in his own garden for planting. He misses the optimal sunlight, the fertile soil, the gentle rain. The energy he could have used to cultivate his own abundance is instead wasted on a sterile and negative task. For the person who interferes, it can manifest in very real ways. A promised promotion inexplicably goes to someone else. A business deal that was a sure thing suddenly falls through. A creative idea they had seems to lose its spark. They are not being punished. The river of opportunity has simply and naturally changed its course to flow around the rock they have chosen to become. Number 6, they begin to fade from the view of those who matter. In our world, there are two types of presence: volume and resonance. Volume is the person who is the loudest in the room, the one who demands attention through drama and noise. Resonance is the quiet presence that is felt deeply, the one people are drawn to for wisdom and calm. A person who messes with the chosen one is often operating from a place of volume. They create chaos to feel seen. However, genuine, meaningful connection is built on resonance, not volume. When you try to sabotage someone who embodies a deep, authentic resonance, a strange thing happens. You may become louder, more dramatic, and for a short time, you may even capture the attention of a few. But those who also seek resonance, the discerning, the wise, the truly supportive souls, begin to unconsciously turn away from you. Your volume becomes grating noise to them. They cannot hear the subtle music of authentic connection through your static. Think of it as trying to get a wise old elder's attention by setting off firecrackers behind him while he is listening to the delicate song of a bird. You may startle him, but you will not earn his respect or his focus. You have just identified yourself as a source of disturbance. So, the interferer finds themselves increasingly isolated or surrounded only by others who are also drawn to volume and drama. They win the battle for temporary attention, but in the process, they lose the war for genuine human connection. They become invisible to the very people whose respect and companionship would have truly nourished their soul. Number 7, the mask they wear begins to crack. Living a life that is not aligned with your true self requires an immense amount of energy. You have to constantly maintain a facade, a mask. You have to remember the stories you told, manage the impressions you've made, and suppress your own authentic feelings. It is a full-time, exhausting job. This mask is often constructed out of fear, insecurity, or a lust for control. A chosen soul, living in alignment, is a person who has laid down their mask. Their power comes from the fact that their inside matches their outside. There is no energy wasted on pretense. When a masked person confronts an unmasked one, the sheer authenticity of the chosen one acts like a powerful light, illuminating the cracks in the other's facade. The effort required to maintain the lie becomes 10 times greater in the presence of raw truth. The person may find themselves slipping up. Their carefully chosen words sound false, even to their own ears. Their confident posture feels brittle and forced. Small inconsistencies in their behavior become glaringly obvious. The mask gets heavier with each interaction. The internal pressure builds until, inevitably, cracks begin to appear. They might have an uncharacteristic outburst of anger, revealing the frustration beneath their calm exterior. They might make a careless mistake that exposes a long-held deception. It isn't the chosen one who breaks the mask. The mask shatters from the internal pressure of its own falsehood, a pressure that becomes unbearable in the steady light of truth. Number 8, they experience an acceleration of their own karma. Karma is not a celestial system of reward and punishment. It is like gravity, a simple and neutral law of cause and effect. It is the law of return. Every action, thought, and intention is a seed we plant in the soil of the universe. What many do not realize is that the soul is not uniform. The energetic environment changes the speed at which these seeds grow. Trying to interfere with a soul who is a clear conduit for a higher purpose is like planting a seed of bitter weeds in supernaturally fertile soil. The consequences, the lessons, the karma, don't ripen over decades. The feedback loop becomes incredibly short. The universe seems to expedite the lesson. This is not because the chosen one has special powers, but because their clear energy field acts as an accelerator, a catalyst. They are living so closely to the laws of nature that anything which is out of harmony with those laws is brought to the surface for balancing, and quickly. A person might tell a small lie to discredit them, and within days, they are caught in a much larger, more damaging lie of their own. They might try to create financial difficulty for the chosen one, only to find themselves facing unexpected and severe financial crisis. This isn't divine retribution. It is an act of cosmic efficiency, and in a way, an act of mercy. The universe is giving them rapid, undeniable feedback. It is saying, this path you are on is causing dissonance. Here is the immediate result, so that you can correct your course. The chosen one is simply the clarifying agent that makes this cause and effect relationship impossible to ignore. Number 9, they are given the ultimate gift, an invitation to awaken. This may be the most profound consequence of all, and it is the one most often misunderstood. Every one of the previous 8 points, the reflection, the unraveling, the emptiness, are not punishments. They are signposts. They are alarms ringing. They are a loving, insistent call from the universe, from their own higher self, to wake up. When a person hits the wall of their own negativity, when their plans fail, their masks crack, and their world feels chaotic, they are brought to a moment of profound choice. They can either sink deeper into bitterness and blame, seeing themselves as a victim, or they can finally look at the one common denominator in all of their struggles themselves. They can ask, what am I doing that is creating this reality? What am I being shown? Messing with the chosen one is often the final act of a soul lost in its own ego, and the resulting collapse of their artificial world is the sacred crisis that precedes a breakthrough. It is the storm that clears the air. It is the fever that breaks the illness. The aligned soul holds no malice. From a space of compassion, they may even recognize this difficult journey as a potential turning point for the other person. This is the ultimate gift of the encounter. It is a devastating, ego-shattering, and painful invitation to let go of what is false and finally, for the first time, to choose a path of truth. So, you see, the mechanics of the universe are not vengeful. They are geared towards healing and alignment. To be a chosen one is not about being special. It is simply about choosing, day after day, to align yourself with the truth of your own soul. And when you do this, you become a force of nature, not a force of conflict, but a force of clarification. Walk your path with courage and with peace. Tend to the garden of your own spirit, and do not worry about those who would throw stones. They are simply engaging with their own lessons, on their own time. Your light is not a weapon. It is a beacon illuminating the path home, not just for you, but for all who are ready to see. If this journey of understanding has served you, if it has offered you a new perspective or a moment of peace, then your journey with us is just beginning. To continue exploring these deeper truths of the spirit, I invite you to subscribe. See it not as a click, but as a commitment to nurturing your own inner light and as a promise to your own becoming. Walk well.